Hey, good evening, everybody. Just got done looking through the latest forecast guidance for tomorrow, and it's pretty aggressive. I think we're going to see thunderstorms throughout the entire day. Now, this is not a high-end severe weather threat. It's not the beginning of our secondary severe weather season. I do see the possibility of some isolated damaging wind gusts, maybe at most 60 miles per hour, a lot of lightning, and some pea to dime size hail. But more importantly, I think the big thing, maybe the rain. Some of you got 3 to 5 inches of rain today, and some of you maybe get 3 to 5 inches of rain tomorrow. And then as we get into Thursday, there's more rain. So after going a couple of weeks with no rain whatsoever, we're going to see a lot more rain. Tonight, you can see the lightning off in the distance as we kind of go into the forecast here. Those thunderstorms to the north, those are north of Pulaski, pretty much right on the interstate, right around the exit on Highway 64 to go to Jack Daniel's Distillery or Fayetteville, in case you're just going there. But that's kind of it tonight. I don't see a whole lot more activity. What's happening to the west in Memphis will likely be arriving around 5 a.m. in the shoals. So we're going to talk about that. Good evening, Ian. And let's see, Jason asking about the garage. You know, I've been on vacation, so I haven't done much at all with the garage. I'm going to rent the tile maker. Tile cutter, that is. Now that would be an invention, a tile maker to take home. But I've got an awesome video. My buddy David Paul, he's the chief meteorologist down in Dothan, Alabama. He put together a cool video. He's got it on his YouTube channel already if you want to go to that. Again, David Paul. And there's two David Pauls. There's a David Paul in Houston, I believe, too. But you're looking for the David Paul in Dothan. He also does a pretty cool little morning update where I think he alternates baseball caps, talks about the weather, kind of casual. So again, I'll have that on either Thursday or Friday, just because First Alert Weather Day, what's most important is talking about the thunderstorms, and that's really what you want to know. We'll talk more about my vacation later in the week. We caught a lot of fish, had a great time down there at Mexico Beach. Cathedral Caverns tomorrow. Ooh, it's not looking great, Ashley. We're going to go through this hour by hour, and in a second, Hannah's on here. Haven't heard from Hannah since last severe weather season. As far as the mobile home, I mean, here's the challenge. It's a personal choice. I cannot answer that question for you because I don't know your situation. The challenge is if you live in a mobile home, you got pine trees around your home, it only takes a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust sometimes to knock the tree down. So if I had a mobile home, I would either, one, have a storm shelter, or two, cut all the trees out that are taller. So maybe just do dogwoods around the house, because that's the number one threat, those trees that fall on the mobile homes. It's not really where you're going to have to seek shelter if you live in a mobile home, because it's not like we're going to have an 80-mile-an-hour wind gust come through. And that's typically what it takes, straight line winds at 80 miles an hour to overturn a mobile home, unless it's not securely fastened. And a lot of times you honestly don't know what you're getting if you've bought a used mobile home, things like that. You don't know what went into it in most cases. But again, to answer that question, it's very specific on how many trees you have, how tall those trees are, and you never know if some of your trees are rotten. So a lot of times we get some high winds that'll come through, and the first thing I look at is the tree that fell over was hollow in the middle. It was about time for that thing to fall down. All right, well, let's talk about the first time frame here. First off, let's talk about what's going on. We've got a cold front coming in, and it's not a winter cold front. It's a fall cold front, so there's not a whole lot to it. And there's an area low pressure. That's what's creating the spin. We've got the lift coming in, and that's what's going to be moving in tonight. They've had a tornado watch out in northern Arkansas most of the afternoon. I'm not even sure they've had any tornado. I mean, it's a really low-end threat for them even. Let me check real quick just to see, because I don't remember seeing much with that as far as storm reports today. Come on, phone. I need a bigger phone. I actually need an iPad. I wouldn't be surprised if we get upgraded to a slight risk tomorrow, but even that doesn't say much. The whole marginal risk thing, you see that floating around everywhere, that used to be what's called C-text when I was growing up. So overall, it's not a high end. It's kind of a CYA, to be honest with you. All products. Let's see. Signal's not so good. Storm reports, that's what I want. Yeah, this is a pretty good light show up there in Middle Tennessee. Yeah. Slight risk today. That's the storm reports from the Tornado Watch. Probably some borderline wind reports. So again, don't get all concerned about tomorrow's. It's just a first alert weather day, but it's not. It's a medium impact here. It's mainly impact driving down the road and isolated wind damage, things like that. Oh, thanks, Sissy. So what you're looking at is water vapor imagery, and there's no huge swirl in the water vapor. It's more of a wave coming through, and the timing's going to be everything. The latest forecast guidance kind of has a lot of these storms coming in the morning hours, and that's probably going to keep down the instability for the afternoon, which is why I'm more concerned with flooding, really. So here's where we're looking at the impacts. Roughly 6 a.m., probably closer to 4 or 5 in some areas, looking at the latest radar. To 10 a.m., heavy rainfall, gusty winds, frequent lightning. And the latest model guidance kind of says we may see this continue throughout the whole day. And that would actually keep the instability a little bit lower for the afternoon. So between 1 p.m. and 9 p.m., so all the way through this time tomorrow night, we're going to see widespread scattered thunderstorms, very heavy rain. We're probably going to have some flash flooding out there. And we do need some rain, but some areas could go a few weeks without any rain after seeing. Some guy got, showed me his rain gauge today, 5.5 inches of rain, and that was in northern Madison County. Severe threat is low, and again, I want to stress that. Not every first alert weather day is created equal, and you should know that. If it's really, really bad, I'll be talking a whole lot different here. Isolated wind damage, flash flooding. Those are the primary concerns. So here's the timeline. I'll let a few more of you get on here. And again, some of you are probably fast forwarding this if you're watching, say, early Wednesday morning or later tonight. But scattered thunderstorms. There could be some fog out there in the morning too. So the atmosphere is really primed for heavy, heavy rain. You're going to see a lot of movement to the clouds too. We're probably going to have a lot of scud clouds out there. And again, most of the winds, Justin, are going to be 25 to 35 miles per hour. There's going to be some isolated 40 to 55 miles per hour. We're likely going to have brick stretchers. Now, I don't need any brick stretchers. Got a board stretcher, though, if you need to borrow that, Marty. But what we're likely going to see are some severe thunderstorm warnings, and they're all going to say winds could reach 60 miles per hour, hail 1 inch in diameter. Again, my problem with those is they're boilerplate warnings. They're not really specific to what's actually going on. It's just the criteria for severe thunderstorms is 58 miles per hour on the wind and hail size about 1 inch. I say that because every warning I see says the same exact thing, and I can look at the storm and say, that's not producing quarter-size hail. So again, off my soapbox. So, as we take a look at this cluster of thunderstorms, the time is just above the wind here, 7:15 in the morning. So think about what you're going to be doing. I think west of I-65, it's going to be messy out there for the morning commute. I would plan a little extra time. So in addition to some fog, we're going to have very heavy rain. So maybe talk with your students about driving in the rain on the way to school. So again, school will not be delayed due to rain. However, if this all moves in early, may have some delays if there's flooding. That would be the only delay. But these are going to move through 9 a.m. along I-65 up to Ardmore, the Huntsville metro area, all the way up to Newmarket and Fayetteville. And then this is 10 o'clock. And here's the change in the model guidance. Look at that big cluster of thunderstorms it's producing from Coleman through Eva, Arab, Grant, up to Owens Crossroads and New Hope, and continuing to push off to the northeast into Jackson County. So that's probably the end of the morning round. Here comes the afternoon round. As we get past the lunch hour, now here's where I'm concerned about flooding. Notice the area in Lauderdale County up into southern Middle Tennessee. These are some of the same areas that over the last couple of days have had 3 to 5 inches of rain. So the ditches are going to swell up fairly quickly with the heavy rain coming in, And notice how it's moving over the same area. The storms start to intensify around 3 o'clock. Kids getting out of school, again, picking your kids up, very heavy rain across much of Limestone County, East Limestone, Harvest, Monrovia, up to Fayetteville, down to Moulton, over to Russellville. These are going to be big thunderstorms with a lot of lightning and very heavy rain, and occasionally an isolated damaging wind gust a possibility, maybe hail the size of dimes. I would say the largest may be nickel. If we have more instability, if there's a bigger break from the morning storms, then we could see some somewhat larger hail, but I'm pretty confident with dime to nickel size. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of, that's a good point, Adam. The other thing is visibility issue, is you're going to have a lot of these trees, leaves coming off the trees in this heavy rainfall, just because, you know, that little flash drought or dry period we had, the leaves are just kind of coming off. I noticed that the other day in Florida. Florida looked awful. Their trees look like it's October already because it's so dry down there. But back to this, you can see an isolated area there in DeKalb County. No, Mike Gundy will not be the next head coach for Kansas football. I'm pretty sure of that. Look at this area here between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Watch how that kind of blows up with heavy rain. Again, these will be clustering thunderstorms with very heavy rain. There's going to be issues. This is the evening, early part of the evening, late afternoon commute, and we're going to have issues out there. There's probably going to be accidents, so be aware of that just because of the heavy rain. Temperatures staying in the 70s. And then the heavy rain moves on into Jackson County, DeKalb County. Keep in mind the sun's setting earlier, and when it's cloudy like this, it gets darker faster. So we kind of shift and transition southerly here from Coleman County into Morgan County, Marshall County, Blount County. We're going to have to worry about flash flooding in these areas because the terrain here is somewhat different than it is in other areas. The terrain there in parts of Morgan County and Marshall County is similar to southern Middle Tennessee. We kind of get a break in some of the hilliest terrain in parts of, say, Lawrence County, Athens and Limestone County, and you get into western Morgan County. It's not as hilly. Man, I go talk to schools over there in and around Eva and Somerville, and it's just very, very hilly there. A lot of curves, too. Amber's wanting to know, is there a severe threat in the morning? The threat in the morning and the afternoon is primarily going to be heavy rain, lightning, small hail, but we're talking about some downburst type winds. I don't think we're seeing anything that's going to be like a bow echo, comma head bow echo, things like that can develop because we just don't have a lot of shear. We don't have a lot of upward momentum for that. I see clustering thunderstorms that typically they're multicellular, so one will go up, the other one will be going down, and when one does collapse, that's when you can see these downbursts. But overall, it's a low-end threat of severe weather, but it's going to have fairly medium impact just due to the fact that the morning round is the morning commute, the afternoon, early evening round is the commute there too. So there's going to be more people on the road having to deal with this. And then you can see it just kind of rains itself out by 10 o'clock tomorrow night. But wait, there's more. More showers and thunderstorms coming Thursday, so more widespread rain. Probably some flash flooding threat there Thursday as the front comes in. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, drier weather, the first full week into fall. Actually looks pretty good. So again, I'm going to take a look at the rainfall total potential after this commercial break. It lasts 1 minute. And I'm also going to talk more about the 10-day forecast, see what lies ahead. All right, 5 more seconds, everybody. So let's talk rainfall totals now. Somebody asking about the Lil Wayne concert. I think it's at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. It all depends. I mean, if we get a lot of rain early afternoon, we won't know until about 6 o'clock whether that's going to happen. So I think once the air gets rain cooled, at some point, everything's going to shift to the south. So again, let's see. Our biggest concern is heavy rain. Take a look at these rainfall totals potentially here. It's got 3 to 6 inches along Highway 64 in Middle Tennessee. If that happens, there's going to be flooding because you've already had 3 to 6 inches there in the last 3 days. So we'll watch that. There's going to be a lot of areas that get at least 1 to 2 inches. And this is through Thursday evening. There's a slight chance of rain Friday morning. But overall, our primary concern is flooding, a lot of lightning, and an occasional isolated damaging wind gust. It's not going to be a high-end severe weather event. If anything, if it becomes anything that overachieves and is more of a concern, it's going to be that of the flash flooding threat. So let's take a look at your 10-day forecast, and then I got to get, man, it's almost showtime here, coming up on 9:48. So your 10-day forecast after this Wednesday, Thursday time frame, it looks very dry. And it looks seasonal all the way into next week. And yeah, our next severe weather season, it can develop as early as the second week of October. And right now, I think overall we're in a big transition period. We're going to see more active weather in the U.S. The tropics are going to start to heat up. Yet to be seen whether we'll get anything down in the Gulf. But if we're going to, it's probably going to be around the first week of October. Just a wild guess there. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow evening. Probably have a lot more on radar than we do tonight. Again, the lightning you see tonight is off in the distance up into southern Middle Tennessee. I really do appreciate you tuning in tonight. I know you got other places you can go, other things to do on a Tuesday night. Yeah, I'm off one day. Just got back from vacation. Appreciate your questions too. You guys take care. I'll be on the air here in about 10 minutes.